Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Today is September 13th. You are at the Stanislaus County Board of Supervisors meeting. If everybody could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then please remain standing, and we will have our invocation by Pastor Lonnie Skiles from Big Valley Grace Community Church.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll read a short passage of Scripture and then pray. Isaiah chapter 40 says this, "Do you not know, have you not heard, the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, does not become weary or tired, his understanding is inscrutable. He gives strength to the weary, and to him who lacks might he increases power. Though youths grow weary and tired, and vigorous young men stumble badly, yet those who wait on the Lord will find new strength. They'll mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not get tired. They will walk and not become weary." Let's pray. Father, so grateful that you're the everlasting Father and that we rest in your hands. All that we have, all that we enjoy, comes from you. Are the treasures and gifts that you give to all. And so, Lord, we're grateful for what you've done in our county. We're grateful for these men and women who represent us today. And Lord, apart from you, there is no wisdom. And so, Lord, we seek wisdom. Pray that you bless these men and women who are making decisions today, who are representing the community. That you, Lord, would be the one who would lead, that you would guide, that you would bring blessing to this area that we are in, where our families are being raised. That, Father, that we would prosper in every way, that we might recognize that you are the everlasting Father. So, Lord, this is your meeting. This is your time. It's for your purposes. And we give you all the praise and the glory in your Son's name. Amen. Amen.
Lonnie, thank you very much. That was great. And Lonnie's dad, one summer, when I was trying to get through college, and put me to work when I had no idea what I was doing out in the fields, and I appreciate his confidence in me. I hope I didn't wreck too many things out there on the ranch. Yeah, sure. That's right. Thanks, Lonnie. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to start off with a couple presentations today. Our first one is going to be with regard to its Library Card Sign-Up Month here in Stanislaus County, and Sarah is going to come up and talk. Sarah, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you. Good morning, Chair Withrow, I guess AEO Dietrich, it's nice to see you. Councilmember Wills, and of course all our supervisors. We're really happy to be here today. I have brought some of my colleagues with me as well, because without them, nothing gets done. As you know, this is Library Card Sign-Up Month, and today, whoops, do we have our, okay, I just don't see it up there.
Got it up, I don't know. Do I need to do something else?
Okay.
Okay. I was going to say, otherwise I'm feeling my job already.
There we go. Okay, fantastic. Today we're going to answer the question, what can you get with a library card? I'm going to start, next slide. I'm going to start by sharing just what you need to get a full access library card. You need to complete an application, very straightforward. We need some sort of photo identification and address verification, and then we do need some parent information for minors. With that, you get a full access library card that allows you access to everything that the library has available. But you can also get a digital services library card, and you don't even need to come into the library to do this. For this, you just complete an online application, and you will, within 24 or 48 hours, be given a number that allows you access to all of our digital materials. That card also converts to a full access card with a quick visit to the library and bringing in the appropriate identification. So, with your full service library card, you get access to physical materials, and this is really what people generally think of when they think of the library. It's books, magazines, books on CD, and a wide range of DVDs. But you also get access to things like our technology kits, which include, we have Wi-Fi hotspots that you can check out, as well as home connectivity kits, which include a laptop, a hotspot, headphones, and a mouse. These are very useful for folks in our community who just don't have access to high-speed internet at home. We also loan learning kits, which include Read to Me kits, which provide a story time kind of experience at home. Welcome to reading kits for our for our emerging readers. Also ukulele kits, which allow learners of every age to try their hand at music at home. We will soon be sharing STEAM kits, which support people of all ages exploring science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. And then finally, you can check out a Parks Pass, which will allow you day use of most California state parks at no cost. In addition to those physical items that you can take out, we do offer a wide range of streaming and downloadable items. So with your card, you have access to thousands of ebooks, streaming audiobooks, movies, and even television episodes. We also provide access to a wide range of employment, training, and educational resources online. These include LinkedIn Learning and other adult education services, Job Now and Vet Now, which focus on employment preparation and support for veterans and civilians alike, and North Star Digital Literacy, which provides basic digital literacy instruction in a very accessible format. The State Library has also just announced that very soon we will be able to provide online tutoring for K through 12 from home or from the library with just your library card. So look for more information on that. When we think about these things, one of the things that is important is that the library provides all of these things to the public that might not be otherwise accessible. So if you look at the annual cost of buying just a book a month or just one streaming service a month, you're looking at over $100 regardless. When you add in those training subscriptions, those are hundreds of dollars a year. We know that our library is funded very generously by primarily by our taxpayers, and so we went ahead and calculated the annual sales tax impact, which based on average spending is about $25 a year. So we want everybody to sign up for a library card because we really want everybody to get their money's worth. This is Library Card Sign-Up Month, and so we want you to come down and get your card today. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Sarah. Anybody any questions for?
Just awesome.
All right, I'm going to come down there, Sarah, and we'll
Okay,
do
great.
a presentation.
And I'm hoping we can bring our people up too. So.
Okay, Sarah, thank you very much.
We did bring some people and a giant library.
Ooh, very good. That's great. Here's my accountant I've been trying to steal for years.
No. Can't have it.
So thank you guys very much for doing this and being a part of this. And, you know, I think people more and more are getting back to realizing just how important the libraries are and what a critical part of our community they are. You know, we always think about it for our kids, you know, of course, for the kids, but then just for the adults. You know, it's amazing all the services that we provide. And as you pointed out, just how economic it is for us to be able to use the library. I went through it, I haven't been there in a while, so over the weekend during the heat, we had a cooling station. For those of you who don't know, we had a cooling station at the library downtown here, just a block from my office. And so I walked through there a couple times just to see how things were going in the cooling station, but then I walked through the library, and I'm just never, every time I go through there, I'm just so impressed as to how nice it is and the services you guys provide. And just to see everybody in there so quiet, I'm sure it's not always that way, but just so quiet and learning. You know, it's just everybody's in there learning, and that's the key. So thank you guys very much. It's an honor to have you here, and all the work. You guys know how much we all appreciate your hard work that you do at the library and what you do for our community. So thank you very much, and congratulations on this recognition. I'm going to give you that. I won't read through that, but we'll take some pictures here.
Stop it. Okay, thank you very much. And next, our next presentation is going to be
September 15th through October 15th is Hispanic American Heritage Month in Stanislaus County. And we're going to have a couple people come up for the presentations of those. And I think I know Perfecto is here and Johnny is here. So you guys come on up and we'll have each of you talk if you want, whichever one wants to go first. And I'm going to come down there. Perfecto, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Perfecto Munoz. I'm the Executive Director of the West Modesto Community Collaborative. And I was asked by Terry if I would be one of the individuals that would consider accepting the proclamation of the Heritage Month. And I greatly accepted that opportunity, because I think what is important when we think about why do we celebrate September 16th is that what has been the great contribution of the Hispanic community, and what we've done over the years and the centuries that we've been here in the United States, in this great country. And I believe that it's important that we always celebrate our achievements and our goals, and what we achieve here as a community is that it benefits everyone, including ourselves as well as yourselves, and the greater community of Stanislaus County. And when you also think about it, think about all those past generations that have maybe come through this county or come to this meetings who have expressed a thank you to honoring the great work that they have done and their achievement. I think one of the things I think about are my dad's parents, my brothers, his brothers, I should say. I have four. My dad had 4 brothers, including himself, and all of them served in the Pacific and in Europe during World War II. That was the Munoz family. It was a large family, but they all stepped up and went into the service to defend them and keep this country free from anyone who wanted to take over what we were trying to do here as a nation. And I think that those are the honors that we have to think about. They're all past, but they all still live in us. And the more we share that story with this community, the more they understand the achievements that we have gained as we relate to the successes that we have. And once again, I want to thank you, and on behalf of the Latino community, I thank you for this opportunity, and this proclamation is well received, because it's very important that we honor the memories of the Latino community in Stanislaus County.
Oh, maybe I should have went first after that. Thank you, Perfecto. My name is Johnny Garcia. I am the CEO of the Central Valley Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for allowing us to be here on behalf of the Central Valley Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm honored and humbled to be able to be here to accept this today. Like Perfecto said, just mirroring what he said, it's important to remember where we've came from and where we're at right now. Myself, I'm a small business owner coming from families that never owned a business and never knew what it was or able to own our own business. And because of being here and the hard work that our ancestors or previous family members have done has allowed myself and my family to be able to not only be a business owner, but be able to be up here on behalf of the Latinos around in our county, to be able to represent them, the business owners here in our county, which is very vibrant here in our county. So I just thank you guys for allowing us to be up here, and just honored and humbled to be able to accept this. So thank you guys.
Okay, there we go. Well, first, I wanted to say that for both of you, it's an honor that we're honored and humbled that you guys are here. What you guys do in our community and everything that you're involved in here in Stanislaus County, it's just a pleasure working with both of you, and what you guys are doing and accomplishing out there is very commendable for all of us. What you guys are doing. You look at our country. Our country is a country of immigrants. That's what it's all about, right? That's where we all come from, somewhere else, and that's what's so great about this country. And when I look at our Hispanic population and the immigrants that come from, whether it's from Mexico or Latin America, wherever, very hardworking, family-oriented, faith-based individuals. And that's what this country is all about, right? We're, as we say, we're a country of immigrants. And everybody that came here are very, hardworking. Just think about coming here to begin with, to this country, what it took to get to this country. Most of us can't even imagine going through something like that. And so just that alone, the hard work that it took to get here, and then to come with a very family-oriented and always faith-based, always, all of our immigrants, very faith-based. And so, anyway, we're very proud of you guys, and very proud, that's why we're doing this today. Just the recognition is just to recognize what you guys have accomplished, what our Hispanic community has accomplished, and will continue to accomplish in this country. So thank you guys very much for being here and being a part of the celebration here. We'll take some pictures. John?
One more thing real quick. So, and I can speak on behalf of Perfecta too. It's not us, it's our groups and our organization and our team that we have that helps us do what we do. So can we ask some of our team to come up? So if you're part of the, if you haven't been here, but I'm part of the chamber, can you guys come up so we can take a picture too? So everybody come up.
Chair said I could comment really quickly. I want to tag on, and I appreciate Perfecto and Johnny, your comments, and I have some comments of my own, just thoughts. My dad's an immigrant. I know that I've told this story before, but he came over as a worker and then was lucky enough to own the business. And I think of the families that have helped make us successful over the years, and hardworking. Again, we're made up of immigrants, but the most impressive part, as I was sitting here listening to our chairman speak, is that I do not know a second generation that has worked for us, a first generation that came over, a second generation that actually stayed and worked on the ranch in agriculture, because the parents came here for a better life, and it just reminds me of my dad's. We've got a doctor from one of our workers, we've got a dentist, we've got multiple mechanics, but people have gone on to bigger and better things, and that's what's made our economy grow. And again, the appreciation for the first generation immigrants who know how to work like no other. And there's no denying that when you come from a tougher life and you get here, it's easy to be successful in that first generation. It's much more difficult. The second and third, you have to press harder. And again, to the Madrigal family, the Solorio family, and the Chavez family, and all these folks that spent 50 years, up to 50 years with our family, longer than I was around. I have mad props for them. It's just unbelievable. It gets me choked up.
Very good. Thanks, Vito. Okay, thank you guys very much for being here and being a part of this today. Okay, we're going to move on to our public comment portion of the meeting. This is for anybody to come up and speak about any item besides an item that is on the agenda. You'll get a chance to talk about those, but any other item, and we allot 5 minutes for this. So I've got a lot of speaker cards here today. So we will start off with the first one, Mr. Monteroso, Joseph Monteroso. Mr. Monteroso, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen. You might remind Thomas that I got an email yesterday from Cocoa Law addressing one issue on my multiple issues requested, and it said that it didn't have any documentation necessary or fulfilling. Well, that's not true, because I got 3 copies of documents from other sources. Why not just get it done, Thomas, so we can be done with this? Okay. Number two, we got a new problem on the road. We have a young man dressed in full camouflage fatigues, walking down the road, slowly smoking a cigarette. I just hope he knows how to field strip that cigarette, because we have grass, brown grass growing all the way up to the road. Let's see. I presented you today with a special gift. It's the lawsuit, complete with all of the attachments. I hope you will read it. Won't you take maybe 10 minutes and read that lawsuit and see if it really makes sense for you guys to be involved in it. I understand from my lawyers that you really do have some influence. You could easily, at least 4 of you, could easily vote to just decide you shouldn't be involved in it, when you shouldn't be. Read the lawsuit and see what you come up with. I know you're going to get a different opinion from Cocoa Law, but it's not necessarily the right one. You've got to use some common sense here. Why are we spending money? Why are you spending taxpayers' money and my money for what? At the end of the day, at the time you end up reading that lawsuit, ask yourself, what are you doing here? Why are you here? We're yet to wait for Thomas's response. By the way, it's 20 days. Thomas, I'm hoping that you won't take the full 30 days, and we can get this over with. But that's up to you guys. Let's see. The issue with the road, as you'll read very carefully, and I don't know what the response is going to be. We're at a total loss of what it could be at this particular point, because everything is addressed in the lawsuit. We're wondering why. And God, guys, I've asked you that how many times? How many times have I been standing here asking you why we're doing this? Why are we in this lawsuit? I have no choice. I have to protect my family and my property. You guys don't have to do any of that. I've given you time and time again reasons why that dirt road needs to be gated off. It's a danger to everybody who lives there, whether they want protection or not. Doesn't matter, because their ignorance is in fact what's going to cause a problem. What they say is of no importance. What they call me is of no importance. What's important is the road. The road needs to be closed. We have many roads out there. I've already sent a letter to Mr. Lehman asking for other private, or now they're actually public roads, that are gated out there. Why is that? Why is this road, which is not a public road, it is a private road, never been a public road, why can't it be gated when there are other roads that are public roads, not more than maybe a mile and a half from this road, that have gates on? Why? Can anybody tell me why? No, because you guys can't talk during the 5 minutes. Somebody needs to do something about this using some common sense. And let me gate the road. It's not going to cost you a dime. I pay for everything. So what's the problem here? It's not like you don't have a budget. My light. I got one thing left. I got it from Dale Carnegie. Be more concerned with your character than your reputation. For your character is what you are about. I'm going blind too as I get older. For your character is what you are about. Your reputation is merely what others think of you. Dale Carnegie. Not a stupid man. Guys, please read the lawsuit. At least give me that much and see what you think about it. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Mr. Monterosso. Okay, next up, Miguel Donoso. Miguel, good morning. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. And thank you for giving the proclamation of the Hispanic Month. But at the same time, I'm going to speak for the Diversity, Equity, Inclusionary Manager. Mr. Chairman, I think I talked to a few members of the community in regard to this position, and I think that we need to bring community members to help to select that person who's supposed to be working for under the Executive Order 13985, specific the underserved community that we as a big in the low-income families and the minorities. I feel very strongly that in the staff that you have here, and no person have a qualification to be part of that manager. So I'm asking you please to bring somebody from outside to have experience working in that type of job. Somebody from the Bay Area or someplace else, but not locally, not from the county itself, because this county, to be honest with you, is very conservative. And this issue of the diversity and equal inclusion management is a big position. That means that you have to work with different groups and try to work in the departments to improve the diversity and equity. And that's not happening right now in this county. Even you have the Commission for Equal Opportunity. The hiring more minorities, specific Mexican American and Latinos, is not too big. Only you have one member of the executive office, or two, compared to the population that we have and the force that we have. Plus, you are missing the big issue. You don't have a policy in regard to equity, in racial equity. You don't have a policy. So how are you going to implement this program? How are you going to be enforced this program when you don't have the policy himself? So that means you have the car, but you don't have the driver. It's simple as that. You have the car, but you don't have the driver. So, Mr. Chairman, I think it's very important for us to have a person that understands our community or want to work with our community and to have experience before working in a place like that. But here you don't have no staff member that have that qualification to have this job. It's a big job. And I recommend that every department have a diversity and equal staff member in each department, not only himself, because he's not going to work. You don't have the rest of each department have an officer in each department, because Mr. Hayes is going to control that. And when Mr. Hayes controls that, he not allow for somebody else to say nothing. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Miguel. Okay, next up we have Brenda Sutherland. Brenda Sutherland. Brenda, good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. I had to get up extra early today and do my chores before I drove to Modesto, which is a nightmare, by the way. I know I have 5 minutes, so I'm just going to get right into it. This is concerning Senate Bill 1383, requiring everyone to have a blue or green on their property. And from City of Turlock, it's scavenger is I guess the board had some under-the-table agreement, and now they have exclusive rights to my garbage, and I don't have any rights. And what it says, the bill says, all residents have to have blue and green. There is no way in the world that Turlock Scavenger can handle all of that. They can't. They can't make the bins fast enough. So I already compost. I have 4 acres. On one side I have sheep, the other side I have horses. I compost, I recycle. I'm by myself. For my trash, it's one white small grocery sack that I have, and I take it in. I have proof that I'm fully capable of dumping my own trash. I brought the receipt with me proving that I indeed can take care of my own property. I received a letter from your brown shirt, and this guy, his sole job is to harass me. And I'm now deemed a public nuisance. I'm endangering other people because I took back the blue and the green, which it sat on my property for 4 months. I kept paying, and I never used them because I recycle everything. And when I mow my front yard, I mulch. I don't even put it in a bag. And if I bag it, I have sheep that eat it. So until everybody has these blue and green, which is what the law says, you're all breaking the law. And really it's not a law, it's a mandate. Since when did a mandate become a law? I know you can't answer me that, but this is a mandate. It's not a law. So now I'm facing charges. They can arrest me. They can try to seize my property. This environmental, poor dude, Robert, I feel sorry for him because he's an enforcer. All he can do is enforce it. And I had the audacity to take the green and the blue back and said, I don't need them. I do my own. I don't need them. I've been a resident of Stanislaus County more than 50 years. And now I'm being told to comply with this new Senate, well, actually it's a Brown bill. It really is Brown. He put this down, I think something like 2016. My issue is that you have an under-the-table deal with an entity that cannot handle all of Stanislaus County. People across the street, they don't have to have a garbage can at all. There are no requirements whatsoever. On my side of the road, it's forced. On the other side of the road, they called and said, hey, we want a blue, we want a green. They were told no, they can't have one. They don't qualify. So if someone can explain to me how this is going to be enforced, now I know with me personally, I was stupid. I should have just let them sit it on my property and paid the extortion, because that's what it is. And the definition of extortion is taking money from people that by force, and that's what this is by force. I'm being forced to pay for something I do not need, do not want, and I've been called a public nuisance. It's right here. I'm a public nuisance because I take care of my own property. Since when is this okay? And I'm a danger to human life. I'm detrimental to public safety. I'm not close enough to anybody on either side to be a danger to anyone. So how are you going to ensure that Turlock City, Turlock Scavenger, can handle all of the debris? They just dump it all together. Then they dump it over there. So that's it.
Brenda, thank you. Thanks for coming down. Okay, Vito, go ahead.
So this is not specifically addressing, but I think the bill, because we had long discussions about the SB 383, and it came down to census tracts. That was how the requirement was done. I think we remember, but it's always good refresher because this has happened in many places where the 3-can system is in one side of the street and the 1-can system is in the other side of the street. But again, it was based on census tract data from 2010. 75 people or less, I think it's per square mile. and we have this issue in Denair. I'm not sure exactly where you live, but this has happened.
Same as Salida.
Salida.
Yeah.
We've had it in many places, but again, the state chose the mechanism in which to determine who got the 3-can system and who didn't. And we have 3 haulers, correct, in the county. There's Towac Scavenger, Bonzi.
Towac Scavenger, Jilton.
Jilton and Bonzi.
Yeah.
And so and they have exclusive zones. The reason they have exclusive zones is to make it worth their while to pick up garbage, to keep rates down, actually, rather than have to travel, countywide. And so this has been a conundrum for people. And the rates went up 25.47, I believe, is what Towac Scavenger raised for the 3-can system. So it was a substantial increase and has determined, but I know with Will Richards, who is in charge of the solid waste, we had this discussion in Denair because they actually split a subdivision. It was pretty high density, but we couldn't impose it on the rest of the neighbors because not all the neighbors wanted it. And so they weren't going to go pluck cans out. We had this discussion. I know we have, but it's always good for the public. A reminder, the state of California wanting to divert more and more from our landfill, which, has it always sounds good and it's a good thing, but there's always an implication to that with charges to residents, so.
Okay, thanks for that. Bertolotti, not Bonzi, is what we're thinking, Bertolotti, yeah. Yeah, and we had the same problem, like you said, up in Salida. We've got neighborhoods that are just split with this census tract. One side of the street required, the other side of the street not. I was just thinking with your neighbor that wants it and you don't, maybe you could share the cans with them and they could, yeah, that's the problem, yeah. But there is a possibility to share. That's the other thing that we've talked about here at other meetings, that people do have the possibility to share with their neighbors. One person responsible and they all share if they don't think they have enough garbage for these cans that they've been provided. So anyway, we sympathize with you, what you're saying, Brenda, but not much we can do about it, so.
And I apologize to the Bertolotti family.
That's okay.
I can't believe
That's
I
okay.
said that.
That's okay. Okay, thank you. The next speaker card I have is Stacy Garcia. Stacy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very frustrated. Here again, speaking in front of you guys. Last time I came, I told you a personal story of who I am. I'm Stacy Garcia, and I'm with the UDW. I'm a home provider here in Stanislaus County. I take care of my mother. I'm very frustrated that we have to keep coming back here to ask for a raise. I don't believe we should have to. It should be something. I see that your guys' people get raises all the time. I have to be honest with you because I'm so frustrated that we're back here again to fight to be recognized and respected, and all we're asking for is a $2 raise. I'm not going to get personal because I'm going to get emotional. But I feel that it's demoralizing and it's doing nothing to address our county's high IHSS caregivers turnover rate. In fact, your offer may feel generous to you, but in contributing to very problems you must address if we are going to crawl out of this long-term crisis. I'm here with my fellow UDW family, and we are just here to ask if we can get a raise. And I don't see why we can't get it. I don't understand. I do work as a nurse, then I'm not getting paid that. I take care of my mother 24/7, and I don't get any acknowledgement. I'm only getting paid $15.50. How am I supposed to live off of that? I have a 5-year-old that I have to take care of, and you guys need to help us. That's all we're asking, is for some help and give us that $2. And it's just, I'm frustrated that we have to keep coming back again and again. And I hope you guys hear us. And I hope you remember my story. And just please, plead with us. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Stacy. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Astrid Zuniga. Astrid, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. A little sleepy when you have a child, adult child that gets up at 3:15 in the morning and insists on a shower right then and there. But my name is, for those who don't know me in the room, my name is Astrid Zuniga. I am the statewide vice president for United Domestic Workers, but most importantly, I'm a home care provider for my adult child, Manny, who has autism, intellectual disabilities, and epilepsy. You know, it's been said time and time again, I'm starting to feel like a broken record here, but IHSS providers like myself, the folks who care for our county's seniors and people with disabilities, are essential workers. They are an essential workforce. And there's a care crisis happening right now in Stanislaus County. I've said it before, there's 500,000 of unmet hours, needed hours for clients in this county. Hundreds of constituents that are going without care each month because there aren't enough IHSS providers to go around. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, the only way to fix the crisis is to invest in IHSS workers, invest in the program, make this a job worth doing, a job with livable wage and decent benefits. As a matter of fact, in this county, Stanislaus has the money to fund our proposed wages and benefits. You know, there was going back to, I said when I was here last time, the Stanislaus 2030 program that you guys have launched, the stakeholders set a goal for reducing the share of children in struggling working families by 50%. The young lady, Stacy, who just spoke before me, who's trying to raise a family on a home care worker's wage of $15.50. When this county doesn't bat an eye to giving their department heads, 28 department heads, a wage increase that cost the county $800,000 this year, over $1 million in the next. But you can't give home care workers $1 wage increase. $2. The governor just signed a bill that gives a pathway for fast food workers to $22 an hour, while home care workers who are providing your community's most vulnerable a life-saving service are making $15.50. That's a shame. Shame on our county. Furthermore, IHSS providers, including myself, have successfully lobbied the state in 2021 to ensure that the county share of costs for this program wouldn't change. The state has given no indication at all that there will be any changes forthcoming to how this program continues to be funded. All investments require a small amount of risk. We all put some sort of risk into what we invest in, whether it be a car that might break down or turn out to be a lemon, or programs like this. And I can see how that can worry some to fund a program of this size. But investing in what matters, which is the people of Stanislaus County, it should be your #1 priority as stewards of our tax dollars, and more importantly, as leaders of our community. As you head into closed session today to discuss our latest bargaining proposal, I hope that you'll remember that and that you'll do the right thing. Thank you.
Thanks, Astrid. Okay, next up we have Ken Schroeder. Ken Schroeder. Ken, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm here this morning in supportive and home supportive service workers who care for seniors and people with disabilities. The work that they do is essential to the people they serve, and it's essential to our entire community. And this is very challenging work also, besides being essential work. You know, each one of us may someday need a caregiver due to age or disability. We don't know that. Each one of us may need that. We just celebrated Labor Day, which is a day to honor and acknowledge workers. And so acknowledging IHSS workers is a matter of economics, and it's also a matter of justice. So my ask for you is that you act with love and with compassion by offering these workers a compensation package that allows them to live with dignity and to live with a living wage. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Okay. Next up, we have, I'm thinking it's Trella, is that right? Am I saying that right? Trella, I'm sorry, I couldn't tell if that was a T or not. It's a T. Come on up. Trella Mendez.
Montez.
Montez. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning. This is my first time here. I'm coming in a little bit of despair. I am an IHSS worker. Previous to COVID, I worked for Gallo, which I made a very, very good wage. I left Gallo to take care of a family member that was in need. I've been taking care of him for about 3 years now, and the compensation, I don't believe it's a fair compensation at all. Recently, my client, well, he's considered my client, but my uncle as well, he ended up catching COVID. He needed to have a surgery. He caught COVID, probably from going to his pre-op for his surgery. We go the day of the surgery. They tested him. He was positive for COVID, couldn't do the surgery. Within the 10 days, he got severely sick, ended up in the hospital. At that time, my pay went to a complete dead stop. Had no finances to live on. You immediately lose your hours because you're not taking care of anybody. But I'm getting 20 to 30 phone calls a day from the hospital asking questions regarding all of his medical care, who are his doctors, previous to all of his medical condition. I'm still working, but I'm not getting any compensation. I reached out to IHSS to ask for other resources. During that time, knowing my income was coming to a dead stop, there's no vacation pay, no holiday pay. My IHSS worker that is responsible for him through the agency didn't even call me back because they decided to change workers, and so it just sat in a voicemail. So every phone call that I made to the agency was getting ignored. I have 2 small children that I take care of, and now I'm kind of in a bind. I had to run out, and while I'm stressing about my uncle being in the hospital, maybe losing his life, had to run out and get a temporary job at an agency back in the field that I was previously working in. Thank God I was able to find something to get me by for a week. But then I had to quit that job because he was thankfully able to come back home. And with the wages that we're making, we're not able to have any savings to even prepare us for if something happens to our clients. We have no backup plans. There's hardly any support for us. So I would just like to see if you guys would consider giving us something that's ethical for the work that we do. A lot of us take care of people that are abusive to us. They cuss at us at times. They are physical with us at times. I don't believe that there's enough rehabilitation centers for us even to send our clients to if they needed to go into one, because that's been a possibility for my uncle, but they push back and say, well, we would rather have them at home, which is smarter, and we do love him, and I do care for him. I give him way better care than he would probably receive outside of the home. But it's just very overwhelming and scary to think at any moment I'm not going to have any income. And the unemployment office, once you try to open up unemployment, it takes months for anybody to get any responses or any decent compensation there as well. So, I'm sure all of you, if you guys had to look at your guys' income and realize, oh my God, all of a sudden, within 24 hours, I'm going to have absolutely nothing, how would you be able to sustain your lives? So, thank you for letting me speak today.
Thank you, Trilla. Okay. Next up, we have Evelyn. I'm sorry, I can't. Evelyn. Evelyn, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, good, thank you.
Sorry, I couldn't read the last name there.
It's Landros.
Landros, okay.
Yes. I'm here today to stand up for the IHSS workers. I did used to work in a hospital. I will say that the work was long and tedious. It was minimum wage, and I did do 2 jobs in one. I didn't think it was fair, and I think that is one of the things that mostly strayed me away from keeping working in a hospital and into the medical field. I am now from a nonprofit organization. I do get paid more, and I'm still helping others, which is what I love to do. So I do think that they do deserve a raise, not just $2. I think it's way more than $2. At the time when I worked in the hospital, that was 4 years ago, it was only $13 minimum wage. And it did feel like kind of a slap in the face, I guess. Like, you would really think that you're going to school getting certificates to go, and me sitting in an office being a receptionist before was just the same. And I was doing double the work, if not quadruple the work. The hours were long, and I definitely don't want to go back to that. And yeah, taking care of people, it's just something else. It's a different thing to do. And I also am here for another topic. My mother also worked. We are first generation here from Mexico. I am Mexican American Indigenous. And I do want to say that my mother did come this way for a better life. I guess that's what she saw. And she did work in the fields 22 years, and I have not seen any programs. I have heard a lot of talk about them opening programs, opening up immigration to where they can get benefits, maybe even retirement, I think, some kind of pension or something, something that they deserve is what I feel that is missing. She's really has nothing to go for leaving her whole family behind, hasn't seen her mom 25 years, you know, just to give us a better life. I do miss my family over there, and it would be really nice just to know that people who sacrifice their whole life just to put food on people's tables, out hardworking. I've done the same work also. Picking fruit outside or nurseries and stuff like that, it's not easy work at all. And they're well deserving, and they are people, and every American has food on their tables because of them, and those steps really need to just keep going up. But that's all for me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn. Okay, next up we have Sophia Rodriguez. Good morning, Sophia. How are you?
Morning. Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, so I'm here with UDW. I'm an IHSS provider too. Begging, it's not my thing, but I would like to say something. I've been working around Stanislaus County for about 16 years for nonprofits. I've been a volunteer for 9 years and more for different organizations. I know a lot of I'm a provider. The recipients that I have had through the years, a lot of them are, their kids are working in the Stanislaus County. Somehow, they got the way to pass all of their assets to the kids so they could get medical, Medicare, and IHSS. How? How do they do that? Most of them know how do they do that, because they find a way. But they're getting the care from IHSS, a program that is helping Stanislaus County. It's not only helping people underserved. It's helping people that I can say wealthy legally, because they're not anymore, legally. But we are taking care of them. For many of you that are seated over here and working, even in IHSS office, many of their parents are on IHSS programs. How do they do that? but we cannot get $2 for taking care of somebody else's parents? Have you guys noticed that? Would you like to pay more for people that it's not in their houses, but they're getting outside care? No. The county is using us not to pay for the care outside. And if I can name every single one, I can. Legally, I can. So I don't see why the wages are so low. When they're getting a raise, well, they didn't get a raise that long ago. I noticed the county, if you know, city, county, wages, they have a union. If you take a look at that, financially, they're taking advantage of this program, and they're taking advantage of us, because we don't take care of only of, well, I don't take care of my parents. I take care of somebody else's parents. Many of you take care of their parents because they have no choice. They have no choice because there's no other resources out there. Or you don't meet the criteria for them. How do they do that? You don't meet the criteria to have a caregiver at home besides your son, your daughter, or if you're living alone, they don't give you any other choices. You have to look for your own family to turn around and say, can you be my provider while you're working for $26 an hour sitting over there instead of changing diapers, feeding somebody, carrying somebody, because people sometimes can move. And we carry all that weight. So if you're, I'm just going to say this really quick. If you're smart, I will pay those $2 for whoever is working at this time right now. And not, many people it's quitting. So if they start leaving this job, what you're going to do? Put them in a nursing home. How many are going to fit over there? How many nursing homes are you going to build? Hospice? Well, yeah, they're going to go from a nursing home to a hospice. There's the money from Medicare. It'll pay for hospice for how long? And then what? The cemetery? So financially, that's the way I look at it. Because if I'm going to be thinking about how sad it is, how hard it is, how stressful it is, we're not going to get anywhere. Because we're just going to be here asking for $2. Yeah, no. Legally, it has to be set. Because if we put it all together, it can be set. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sophia. Okay, next up we have Will Kelly. Will Kelly. Well, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Very good. Good morning. Will Kelly with the North Valley Labor Federation. Here again, speaking in support of UDW and IHSS workers. I understand that you will be speaking about this in closed session, and I hope and implore you to find a resolution to this. Right? UDW has come forward with, I think the offer on the table is exceptionally reasonable and within the county's ability to meet, and I hope that we can conclude this quickly, as you have with other collective bargaining units in the county. I'm sure that in closed session, staff will advise you of all of the risks and liabilities from here to eternity, as they should, as is their job. And I think that as policymakers consider that, I hope you'll put this in what I think is the proper context. IHSS workers through the pandemic have been to hell and back. While many of us were complaining about Zoom and not being able to go out to restaurants, were not only managing their own health during the pandemic, but caring for their clients, many of whom are extremely vulnerable and have extremely complex medical care. And as you just heard, many are still dealing with the pandemic. Meanwhile, the county has come through this in very strong financial shape. Right? You have been able to successfully resolve all of your other collective bargaining agreements. recently gave a raise to department heads that I think bring total something like $800,000 a year, which, not begrudging anyone their pay raise, and certainly very happy you were able to resolve those other contracts, but how can this be the place where things stop, right? I urge you to finish the job, right, to continue to make sure you take care of all county workers. The state, Astrid referenced the really incredible legislative work that the union has done to be protective of the county, to make sure the state holds up their end of the bargain, and they are doing very well right now with a $93 billion surplus. So I just, as you consider this, as you weigh whatever the perceived risk or reason to say no is, I just ask you, when would be the time to say yes, right? We all know our economy goes in cycles, and that when times are tough, you can say now's not the right time, and when times are good, you can say, well, maybe things won't be so good in the future. But this is about fairness for these workers, and I think with I'll say it again, the incredibly reasonable offer that has been put on the table, if you can't find a way to say yes now, that would be saying to these workers that there's no time where you can say yes, and that would just truly be unacceptable. So I hope, I like how Sophia said, if you're smart, you'll say yes to the $2 an hour raise, and I hope you do, and I look forward to concluding this. Thank you.
Thanks, Will. Okay, next up we have Sebastian Jones. Sebastian, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Terry and all the board. Excuse my voice. I visited Addison this morning after my emergency surgery, and I want to commend the Mexican holiday. I just want to say that I walked with UFW 60 miles in solidarity, even though I come off of a terrible sickness. Didn't think I was going to make it, but I made it, and I'm still talking. So, but let's get down to business. If you would look at you guys was being greedy, and I hate to say it like that, time you guys was elected in, you guys gave yourself a raise and didn't think about the other people. Now, it's sad for the UDL to be down here, and you know, guys, I've been down here. I wish you guys changed the time. I know why y'all do this time at 9. That's to deter people from coming. Y'all need to really, I've been talking about it for about 4 years. But it's time. I know they're tired of coming down here. They're not begging. They're asking. And you know it's time to give them a raise. A cost of living. Now, my patient told me this morning that he wanted to come, but I got to get a hospital bed in here. But I may do that. Get a gurney and have him come to the meeting, because he have a right. And I wish the other people would follow me. If we have about 10 gurneys up in here with patients, let us hit the national news. You guys going to be embarrassed. It's going to be sad. But I may, because I do put on demonstration, because he'll be sitting right in this row in a bed with 2 paramedics, and it'll be embarrassed. And he's a vet, because he know I do a good job. You guys know if he was in the facility, they're not happy at a facility. They're happy around families. But it'll cost you guys more money. And you guys know this. And I ain't supposed to be talking loud, because I'm still healing from the whatever treatment they gave me up there in Stanford. But come on. Now you guys gonna be negotiating Okay, well, y'all was talking about the library. Why don't y'all go to the library where it's quiet and sit there and negotiate? $2 ain't good enough for me. I think it should be $4. $19.50. And that way, you won't be bothered with the UFW for 4 or 5 years. Go ahead and give them the top raise. Because you're going to look at it over here at the facility or at home. You guys are winning at home. Then a person at a facility, they don't last long there because they're not around family. Think about it. Come on, y'all sitting up there now. Come on. Y'all getting up in age. You never know. And I'm whistling, Lord, I got to shut it down. Listen, let's be real. Let's do what's right. $4. I know y'all up there got in y'all head $2. No. Let's keep us from being down here begging, fighting, demonstrating. But I urge the family to get your patient and let's set up about 15 or 20 gurneys with patients in it. We have ambulance all around this park with patients and let the patients speak. You guys wouldn't like that. But I'm for it. And I'm going to do it. If you guys don't do anything, I'm going to get with some people that has patients, wheelchairs, bed, rest, get them down here. And let's put an embarrassment on you guys and see what the governor will say. And see what the people will say in Stanislaus County.
Thank you, Sebastian.
I'm sorry I went over. I sure wasn't supposed to be talking like this. I heard the whistle come out and said stop.
Okay.
Thank you, and God bless you. Whenever you negotiate, think about what Mr. Jones said. Let's give them 4, and then that way they don't have to be here fighting. Thank you.
Thank you, Sebastian. God bless you too. Okay, Diana Diaz. Diana, good morning. How are you?
Hi, good morning. My name is Diana Diaz. I'm an organizer with the North Valley Labor Federation, and today I'm here to speak on behalf of in-home care providers, and that I believe that they deserve a living wage. They deserve a wage increase because primarily most of them are people of color, and they're women of color. At the beginning of this meeting, we took pictures here, and you said you support Hispanic Heritage Month. It's easy to say that you support Hispanics, but it's harder to actually support us. So I think one easy way that you can support us is by negotiating fairly and making sure that they get a wage increase. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Okay. Last card I have is Joni. Joni Griep, come on up. Joni, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you. I will try and be brief here. So, I have spoken to you all before about Senate Bill 866, the minor consent bill, which would have lowered the age of medical consent to allow any minor, 12 years old and up, to consent to any and all vaccinations without any parent knowledge or consent. And after I last spoke to you about this bill, the Assembly voted to amend the bill and changed the age of consent from 12 to 15. I am happy to inform the board that on the last day of the legislative session in our state, August 31st, this bill was removed by the author from the third reading file and placed in the inactive file, which means that this bill was killed. When this bill was first introduced by the author, Senator Scott Wiener of San Francisco. He stated, quote, "Unvaccinated teens are at risk, put others at risk, and make schools less safe. They often can't work, participate in sports, or go to friends' homes," end quote. This bill completely missed the mark on the actual significant risks our teens are facing right now. And the senator repeatedly labeled parents like me as misinformed anti-vaxxers who are a barrier to teens protecting their own health. A barrier. Yes, I am. I am a barrier. These are my children. I will always be a barrier to protect them from dangerous legislation that attempts to remove my presence, my right, and my obligation as their mother to ensure their safety while they're still minors. I am so proud of the work that our own Stanislaus County residents did to stop this bill. There was no union standing up against this bill. There was no special interest groups or anyone fighting against this bill. It was parents. It fell on just us, parents. So, in particular, some of the women behind me, these women worked tirelessly, relentlessly to inform the public of Senate Bill 866. They spent so many hours at the Capitol, day after day, week after week, having crucial conversations with our assembly members, their legislative aides, and their staffers about the repercussions, the legality, and the potential dangers of this bill. So much was sacrificed to do this work, and I am so proud of our community. Controversial bills like this should be held under a microscope of scrutiny, and they should go through rigorous debate. From what I witnessed, that doesn't happen well in Sacramento, but the incredible women of Take a Stand Stanislaus brought that to the Capitol, and they did it with the utmost class and respect. So if any of you had a chance to read the article from the Modesto Bee about the defeat of Senate Bill 866, you read this, and I quote, "California teens will still need parental permission to get vaccines after a lawmaker pulled the measure lowering the age of consent to 15 following anti-vax harassment campaign." Quote, "The anti-vaxxer harassment campaign worked this time at the expense of teen health," Wiener said in a tweet, end quote. That is not the truth. The truth is the senator did not have the votes to pass this bill. We were able to obtain overwhelming bipartisan opposition to SB 866. Those of us who made the many arduous trips to the Capitol know the truth, and I would like to publicly set the record straight. Every single parent, every single advocate that I encountered lobbying at the Capitol against this bill is a salt of the earth human. I witnessed the most respectful, articulate, heartfelt interactions by these parents who sacrificed time away from their families and their jobs to stand up for their deep faith and their belief in the sacred parent-child relationship that the state should not be interfering with. Many of us who lobbied against this bill are fully vaccinated, so again, I would like to set the record straight that there was never a single harassment or threat made by any of us. Not long ago at this podium, I said these words to you. There is a battle going on for the control of our children in this state. I still believe that. And I just want to acknowledge and thank you for your efforts to protect our children, to protect our rights as parents, and to uphold our community's values. Thank you.
Thanks, Jody. Okay, that's the last speaker card I have. Anybody else that would like to speak that didn't fill out one of these cards? Come on down. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning. Della Perales here again, trying to move the needle, doing our best. Where do I start that everybody else has already said so much already, other than we're frustrated. We're frustrated that we're back here again, Tuesday after Tuesday. And we see that other county workers are getting raises. Not just raises, but retro. And not just retro, bonuses. And bonuses is a, I forget my words, is not mandated. So that was a gift. Unnecessary, wonderful for them, wonderful. But we get nothing. And the longer that we extend this negotiation for us, we end up losing because we don't get retro. So, but it's not fair that we settle for less than what we deserve. So the longer this goes on, we're losing. We're losing ground. Money comes. Money continues to come. You can't stop that train. That train just comes with money. But the money defies gravity. It defies gravity. What I mean by that is it doesn't trickle down. It stays here. There's money. Money comes. It's going to continue to come. So, I wish my body defied gravity. But I'm at an age where I'm fighting for the next group of home care providers. They're the ones that I'm fighting for. I'm already old, and I'm caring for my sister. And I won't go into details about that because, like one provider said, it's too emotional. We start crying, and that's not what you want to hear. You don't want to hear us crying. We want to be strong up here. We want to be strong to let you know that we're fighting for a decent pay raise. And there's plenty of money to go around. Plenty of money. It's just that that money just defies gravity. And you can see that in many government areas. They have to find ways to disperse that money quickly so that the next budget will be at least that much, if not more. So you've heard the horror stories. We got to buy this, cost this much money when it was a hammer for $500. You know, you've heard the story. It's an old one. But we have to get rid of that money because otherwise the next fiscal year, well, you didn't spend the money. So obviously you didn't need it. There's money here for this fund that was generated by the need of home care providers. But that money doesn't seem to be coming to home care providers. It seems to be getting doled out for other programs. And I'm not saying that they're not needy. What I'm saying is that the money generated was because of this program. So we always like to start this meeting with prayer. So I would suggest that when you go into your negotiation closed session meeting, that the prayer that you ask is, what would Jesus do? I say, no, that's the wrong question to ask. He's not here to help solve this problem here. The question to ask is, what would Jesus want you to do? Because you're in control. I know what Jesus asked me to do, and that's to take care of my sister. And that's what I'm doing. I don't know how long I can do this, but I'll do it as long as I can. I'm answering the call to take care of my sister. So, I don't have any more things to say. I could go on about my grandson for hours, but that would only make me cry. I don't know that it would melt your heart to hear my stories about my grandson, but I know it melts mine. But thank you.
Thank you, Della. Okay. Terry, come on. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Hobbing on alone this morning, but I'm still here. So I wasn't going to say anything, but I just want to piggyback on, my name is Terry Walker-Dampier, and I am with my brothers and sisters at UDW. I walked in and my son and all was getting a presentation, and that's very wonderful. But I just want to stand here this morning just to say, Mr. Woodrow, you talked about faith, and that's what perked me up. You made me get up to say something. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And so right now, as UDW workers, we're hoping to see something, evidence. And today I'm just asking you in your meeting or whenever they go back that we will have a great evidence of outcome to see the living wages and everything. You see that I'm sick, I'm hobbling this morning, but I want a great living wage for my caregiver that'll be on the way pretty soon. So I just thank you guys for today, and I thank you for everything that you do for the community. And always remember that if no one else want to help you do anything, I'm still here. I got a walker, I got a cane, and even if I have to have a wheelchair, my son is here, Curtis, I'm pretty sure he'll push me around. My fellow brothers and sisters are here, and they will push me around. So I'm just asking you today in your closed session, just remember faith, what it really means. And thank you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Terry. We'll keep you in our prayers, Terry. Okay, anybody else? Do we have any other? Okay, it looks like that's it for a public comment. All right, we will move on to our consent calendar. I know we have one item that we will pull, Miguel wants to talk about. We'll do that just in a second here. Anybody else up here have any items in the consent calendar they'd like to pull? Anybody else in the audience have anything? Okay, let's just pull this one right now. Miguel, is that okay? You want to talk about this one?
Yes, sir.
Item 5P3 with regard to the grand jury report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That report is a big report, and very few people can handle it. Very few people can read it. It's this side. Take. So, Mr. Chairman, in regard to the homeless issue, or the report of the grand jury, I recommended this report in regard to the whole accountability in the page, in the last page under the recommendation, all the cities should be report annually to the Community System Care and Stanislaus Homeless Alliance in the steps that they have taken to help produce more affordable housing. And that's not happening. And you are a member of CHA, Mr. Chairman. The CHA don't have no accountability. It's a point board by the board supervisor, and where you are a member of that. At the same time, you have 3 reports that have been done by the county being paid over $1 million. One is the Stanislaus County Economic Development Strategic 2020-27. The other one is the Vision on the Valley. And the other one is the famous 2030. In all these 3 reports, one of the main problems is the housing. At the same time, you're paying to this consultant to do something, and the consultant cannot do nothing because he cannot recommend nothing, because we don't have no land to do houses for the homeless, especially when you say we're going to have a permanent houses for the homeless, and no land. If a few lands is very expensive, and very few non-profit agencies can do that. Developers not going to do that because the guy want to make money, and the guy not do that. So the cities and the county are behind 2-3 years in the housing allocation, regional housing allocation, very 3 years behind. So the idea of the 2020-2030 concept and the idea of the study of the economic development and the different programs that you have and not being placed. You've been paid a lot of money for this consultant, and the return is 0 because no land. And at the same time, you don't have exclusionary zoning to do 15 or 20% every house they be made to low-income families or poor families, even for the homeless. So that's that part. The second part that I want to speak to Mr. Chairman is in page 30, you have the issue of the report of the career technical report in regard to the risk students in page 30. Mr. Chairman, you've been paid over $150,000 to do for the Stanislaus opportunity, the workforce, in the Office of Education, to improve the quality of education in the system, to have very skilled to workers. You're going to spend over $50 million, and yet under that infrastructure, you're not requesting the Public Works Department to help these students from 11 to 12th grade to be ready for the programs to be implemented to work in these agencies in regard to the infrastructure that you're going to have a lot of money to spend, and at the same time you're not improving the job quality for the young people to be in the apprenticeship and to learn how to work. And I think this program can do that, especially in the work development in the Mr. Public Work, to involve more young people to work. And because we are behind 2 years in reading and writing and math for the Mexican-American population compared to the white people, and that thing is not right. So we need to do something. You have over $50 million, and especially you have to spend it in 2 years, so you have enough time for the public work to do something with the Office of Education. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Miguel.
Can I,
Pino.
it's not actually a response per se, but the chairman and I are on the General Plan Update Committee. We're going through the Regional Housing Needs Assessment, that's RENA, and right now trying to find, because Salida has been removed from our ability to have that zone for housing. So we're looking at infill projects, and it was a great study for me personally, because this is only the second year I've been on the General Plan Update Committee. But in looking for areas within existing communities, unincorporated communities, and Denair and or Keys and or South Modesto, looking for opportunities to rezone to higher density. And it is the possibility is there, but you're talking about changing zoning on people's existing lots. So it's not a done deal, but it is a great indication, because Measure E, which was a land use restriction, 30-year land use restriction, I think passed in 2014, precludes the county, other than to meet RENA and or low income, from annexing any land. It's 10 acres a year if we can't meet the, right? There's a few provisions. You can do farm worker housing, but it is truly our staff in planning, they've done just incredible work on trying to identify literally small lots, 2-acre, 3-acre lots, and to try and meet our regional housing needs assessment numbers and have enough land zoned to meet that. And that's, as Miguel referred, some of that has to be in low income, moderate income, single family homes. It's a variety. And we see a path on how to get there. We see a path. Again, it may take some tough board decisions to do it, but it's there.
Yeah, that was a great meeting that we sat through, and I want to commend our planning staff for really showing us that, we can do this, we can get these numbers, and here's how we're going to do it. It's not going to be easy, but we do have the land, we do have areas where we can make this work, and it was very encouraging. So there is some hope on the way, Miguel, for what that's worth. So I'm very sure, yep. Okay.
Nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah, nothing's guaranteed. That's right. Yeah. Thank you, Miguel. Okay. That's it. Okay. Being no other items to pull, then we will look for a motion on the consent calendar.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll move on to item 7.1, approval to rehire Dr. Elmer Ignacio prior to the 180-day sit-out period. Tony, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Chairman Woodrow, members of the board.
Ms. Dietrich, and Mr. Bose. Tony Barton, Behavioral Health Director, here on the request to rehire Dr. Ignacio as part-time following his retirement of July 15th. Of course, as you know, this item has to come to board in order to hire someone prior to the sit-out period of 160 days retirement. And in this case, the item has to be of necessity. And we know that the psychiatrists play a critical role in our behavioral health services and treatment and service planning, as well as doing quality reviews, as well as utilization management for the inpatient hospitalization. The department has an open position and open recruitment, but until the position is filled, we are in desperate need of up to 16 hours of services by Dr. Ignacio. This is a position that he held prior to his retirement, and it is a requirement pursuant to Title IX, Chapter 11 of Mental Health Services.
Very good, Tony, thank you. Any questions for Tony? There's definitely a need, we know that, and we appreciate that we're able to do this, so. Okay. Anybody from the audience, any questions, concerns? Okay, we'll bring it back to the board.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passed unanimously. Tony, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Tony, first time you've been before us, I think? Have you spoken before?
Officially,
Since
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Congratulations on the
Thank you.
spot. Thank you. We're glad to have you here. Okay. We'll move on to item 7.2, approval to consider and adopt a resolution of necessity to acquire real property.
All right.
We're not going together.
Hold on one second. We got a mass exodus here. Let's give
Right.
everybody a couple minutes.
It's good to see Patrice up there.
Yes, I didn't acknowledge. Patrice, thank you for filling in today.
Thank you for having us.
You're doing a wonderful job, too.
That's a tough job she has.
It is. Yes.
So the bottom line is, I always like to, my famous line, he's probably watching online, but when he comes back, I say, that was a good meeting, and he said, I wasn't there, and I'm like, I didn't notice you were missing. So, because Patrice did such a great job.
That's right.
Appreciate you standing in. I've done that to Liz before.
You weren't there?
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
Great
We
stuff.
notice.
Just
We
join.
notice.
You know, when you throw a party and nobody shows up,
Okay, Manny makes it back first.
one at a time.
Just for the record, there's 2 red spoons.
He is the winner.
That's good. Stand up for a second. I'm not leaving.
It's funny how the old guys can still sit here. Yeah. So what's the deal with that?
Wearing a NASA diaper.
Yeah. It's amazing the technology in those diapers. That's
Oh, my gosh.
What would Jody do?
He would cringe. Hey, there's John.
All right. Here we go. I think we're good to go.
Very good. Thank you for having us. 7th Street Bridge Project replacement. This is the Rons. We're going to hear 4 of them this morning. I thought I'd really quick, Chair Withrow, good morning. Board members, Assistant CEO and Chief Operating Officer Patrice Dietrich, good morning. And Council Bose. To my right, your left is Arton. Arton's here from Nossaman. You've seen him before. He's also our counsel on 7th Street as well as North County Corridor. Then we did bring the, basically the whole team, and I'll introduce them real quick. It's Jeff Dizon. Dizon, sorry. Brad Allender and Bob Morrison. And Bob's our right-of-way guy. Jeff is our designer, and Brad is the county project manager assisting the project.
Good morning, everyone.
So we're here to have, or ask for 4 resolutions of necessity. We'll hear them one at a time. It's Talha, and then 3 that all have common ownership. We're going to talk about the project description, overview of the process, and then we're going to discuss the individual properties, Talha, and then the 3 Kasim properties, the vacant lot, Lions Market, and Star Auto. Talha is Southwest Tire. And here's a exhibit of what we're taking. The one to your right, that is Lion Market there. On top of the intersection, that's Southwest Tire, that's Talha. The one on the bottom is also Kasim, and that's Star Auto. And then across the river is an open lot, and that's a billboard parcel, or the empty lot. And that is also Kasim. This project's been approved. It's a project. CEQA was adopted by this board on May 23rd, 2017. Caltrans, a couple years later, approved the NEPA document of finding of no significant impact August 23rd, 2019. And these 2 actions combined confirmed the alignment and created and approved the 7th Street Bridge. There is public interest and necessity. It's a 106-year-old bridge. We're correcting structural and hydraulic deficiencies, including removal of load restrictions on the bridge. Been weight restricted since 1937. That's a long time. We're going to expand the vehicular capacity of the 7th Street corridor and improve safety for vehicles, bicyclists, and pedestrians. CEQA was satisfied on May 23rd, as mentioned before, and NEPA with a FONSI on August 23rd, 2019. And we're asking the board to make this finding that this is the greatest public good and least private injury. Through rigorous environmental study and public outreach, I think we had at least 4 public outreach meetings. We've spent a lot of time in public outreach on this project. The project has been designed to maximize the benefits to the public at large while minimizing impacts to private property owners. A thorough analysis regarding the need for each property interest was conducted in the project's planning stages. The project team has worked diligently to minimize the need for property acquisitions. Alternative 2B is the alternative which is planned and located in the manner that is most compatible with providing the greatest public good and least private injury. Offers have been made as required by law. Independent license appraiser was engaged. The second review appraisals were performed by Sierra West. We did make fair market value offers to all the owners, and the owners were offered up to $5,000 for their own appraisal. County has attempted to negotiate an amicable settlement in good faith, continues to do so, but so far has been unsuccessful. Here's the key Ron findings. Public interest and necessity require the 7th Street Bridge replacement project. Project is planned in the manner that will be most compatible with the greatest public good and least private injury. Subject project properties are necessary for the project, and the offer has been made to the parcel owners to be acquired. The first one is Talha. The property is necessary, and so this is the parcel. This is Southwest Tire. We're cutting that parcel in half and building a road to, because we're moving the entrance to Sunrise Mobile Estates. They're going to line up with this signal instead of uncontrolled intersection to your right, which is north. And here's a close-up of the property. The staff recommends, find that the public interest and necessity require the 7th Street Bridge replacement project, find that the projects as planned are located in the manner that will be most compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury, find that the subject property, APN 038-003-005, described in the resolution attached to the staff report, is necessary for the project, find that the offer required by 7267.2 of the government code has been made to the parcel owners, Mohammed Talha, of the property to be required, adopt the resolution of necessity, and authorize county council to initiate eminent domain proceedings.
That's it?
That's it
There
for
we go.
Talha.
Okay, any questions for David? Supervisor Chiesa.
For some reason on my map, I'm trying to look at the overhead map, I still can't come up with what the parcel you talked about there that said Tuolumne and Tuolumne and 7th, right?
Coastline.
You need that for, is that a temporary easement? You said it was the billboard property.
No, this is Taha. This is Southwest Tires. Southwest Tires is the first one. We just
I know.
mentioned all four
I know,
together.
but I'm just trying to put my maps
Okay, sorry.
together. So on that property,
Yes.
because I'm trying to figure out what it is our need. I see I know I'm taking this out of order, but the billboard property,
Yep. I just
since
passed
you
it out.
talked about it.
Hold on. Okay, so here's the billboard parcel. The right-hand turn lane and signal goes in their northeast corner of that lot, and then the interpretive plaza, which is the historical plaza, the historical lights will go there. We're moving part of the bridge over to the project. We need the whole lot. And this one gets used entirely by the project, and then at the end of the project, it's our intent to dedicate the whole thing over to the Tuolumne River Regional Park and add it as part of the park.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Buck?
Yeah, I was just looking, Dave, the driveway going into the trailer park, so that, you're going to turn that into a controlled intersection. Is that?
Yeah, that's a road that goes into the trailer
Into the
park
trailer
there,
park,
so.
okay.
Yeah, and that is where, just up there where it goes into their property, north of the blue shading, is, that was our one residential relocation that we've already completed. Because we took out a cottage, and we already negotiated that deal with Sunrise Mobile Estates and the resident of that cottage.
Very good, okay. Any other questions from the board? Anybody from the audience? Okay, seeing none, we will bring it back to the board and look for further questions, comments, or a motion.
So we have to make the 6 findings, right? The staff recommendations? Yes. So I'm going to make a motion for the 6 staff recommendations.
Very good, we have a motion, do we have a
I'll
second?
second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Move on to the next one.
The next one is APN 102-016-001, the Kasim Trust. And this is the empty parcel. The 2 billboards on there are getting removed voluntarily from outreach, or out front media. They want a new digital billboard, and they have to take down 5, I believe. And so the city of Modesto is negotiating to get all 4 billboards off our project. There's 2 south and 2 north. And that's greatly appreciated because Outfront wants a new giant digital billboard in the city of Modesto. So that worked out well for the project.
Okay.
And there's a detail of it. And so staff is recommending that we find the public interest and necessity require the 7th Street Bridge replacement project, find that the projects planned are located in the manner that will be most compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury, find that the subject parcel APN 102-016-001 described in the resolution attached to the staff report is necessary for the project, find that the offer required by section 7267.2 of the government code has been made to the parcel owners, adopt a resolution of necessity, and authorize county council to initiate proceedings in court.
All right, very good, thanks, Dave. Any questions on this one?
And Dave, just to confirm, the resolution of necessity negotiations still continue?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked the whole way. It's in everyone's interest to try to come up with an amicable solution.
Yeah, in fact, Supervisor Condit, to address that question, we received an appraisal and a counteroffer from the attorneys for the Kasem parcels, because these are 3 parcels that you're considering. We received a counteroffer on 1 parcel and 1 appraisal, so we've started negotiations on that one. We received that on Friday, so 3 days ago. Once we receive the other 2, we will then continue to negotiate on all 3 of them. And if we can resolve the matter before we have to file actions, we will do so, of course.
We gave them the offers a year ago, August of last year, so we've been trying on these, and it's time to go.
And they've taken advantage of the $5,000 for these appraisals, right? They've used that money that we've...
Yes, they know that they're entitled to it. They have not asked for it yet, but obviously opposing counsel will, I'm sure at some point, once they pay their appraiser, will ask for it to be reimbursed, because it has to be a reimbursal.
Perfect. Okay. Seeing no other questions from the board, any other questions from the audience? Seeing none, bring it back to the board. We'll look for a motion.
Second.
We have a motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to the next one.
Next one is APN 038-003-013, more commonly known as Lions Market. And that's the parcel. There's the market. Currently, just a note, they do park in the public right-of-way. So their parking lot is in right-of-way. I checked the maps. We've owned something that looks a lot like that since at least 1912, when this was US 99. Actually, it wasn't US 99 until 28. We've owned this right-of-way for a very long time. This is the first crossing of the Tuolumne River, and I don't know, it's been there a long time. Staff recommends, find that the public interest and necessity require the 7th Street Bridge replacement project, find that the project is planned or located in a manner that will be most compatible with the greatest public good and least private injury, find that the subject property, APN 038-003-013, described in the resolution attached to the staff report, is necessary for the project. Just to let you know, this we are proposing at this point to buy him out completely. So this is a proposed full take. Find that the offer required by Section 7267.2 of the Government Code has been made to the parcel owners, Kasim Trust, of the property to be acquired, adopt the RON, and authorize County Council to initiate proceedings.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Any questions on this one?
It just doesn't look like they have much of a parking lot left after the right-of-way.
And I think that's why we're proposing
Complete buyout.
complete buyout, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Anybody from the audience, any questions, comments on this one? Seeing none, bring it back to the board. Look for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Move on to our last one here.
Last one is APN 038-003-006. This one's more commonly known as Star Auto. It's, I guess that's just directly south of the project. It's that parcel highlighted, and we need it for the intersection, realigning 7th Street into Crows. And you can see there's not much left. County Public Works, county in general, will have a small remnant parcel there that we'll figure out what to do with later, but it will be uneconomic remainder, is I believe what our right-of-way friends call it. So this is a full take too. And we're working with Star Auto because they're the tenant. The owner doesn't run the auto business. He's a landlord, and so we're working diligently with Star Auto and assisting them with trying to find a replacement place to move their business to, and then they do get business relocation. So there's really two people we're trying to help here. Again, staff recommends that we find that this is in the public interest, find that the project is planned or located in the manner that will be most compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury. Find that the subject property is necessary for the project. Find that we've made the offer. Adopt the resolution of necessity and authorize County Council to initiate eminent domain proceedings.
Any questions on this one? This one, Star Auto, used to be a client 25 years ago that was there, and there was the auto wrecking yard just to the south of it there. Yeah, and a very, very interesting gentleman. Not the same owner here now. But.
Right. I did throw in 3 bonus pictures. There's pedestrian. She's pushing traffic, southbound traffic into the northbound lanes. That's the only way she can get her power chair across the bridge. And then there's a temporary support on the north end. It's been there since the 70s. And there's our wooden supports under the south end of the bridge. So it's temporarily supported on both sides. If you look closely at that bottom right-hand corner, that's air holding up that corner of the bridge. And air doesn't have much structural strength. That's why the wood's there. So this bridge is in terrible shape.
Dave did drive me under the bridge. I'm not sure if it's because I'm a lawyer or what, but
Yeah, stand right there. There's a bus coming over. Hey, Dave, how many vehicle trips across here a day?
It's 16,000.
16,000. And I would say that's probably equivalent to Hatch Road or Or Gear Road, I mean.
Almost Albers as it comes out of Oakdale, that's about 18,000.
Albers.
Albers, and Albers is busy, and this is busy.
It's an important throughway, and without it, when this is being built, there's going to be 9th Street, I mean, people are going to,
right,
traffic's going to get much worse for a while, so.
Right.
And just the pedestrian traffic on there too, just the safety of it is great.
Now I know why I could never drive a fire engine over the cross.
Don't do that.
Good thing you didn't. Yeah. And
They
so
let
what-
you drive?
Sometimes.
They were short-staffed.
Bad days. Yeah. So when do we think the bridge, when are we going to start, when are we going to finish?
We're hoping to have a right-of-way cert this spring early, and then we're going to finish up our financing with Caltrans, and then we hope to be out to bid this time next year. There's things a contractor needs to do in the winter to get ready for demolition and construction, and so we'll give them the winter of 23, 24 to do all that stuff, and then we'll be under construction in 24 and 25, and hopefully open to traffic at the end of 25.
Very good. Great. Okay. No other questions from the audience on this one? Bring it back to the board. Look for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, thanks to the right-of-way team, and thank to you.
Councilwoman Canoyer is going to be
Yes, Jenny.
happy with,
We were asking for Jenny those questions.
yeah.
All right, next up, we have item 7.6 here, and this is our update on our quarterly report for our health service agency regarding COVID-19. And Julie and Lori. Good morning, guys. Good to see you. How are you?
All right, good morning, everybody. Chair Withrow, Supervisors, Ms. Dietrich, and Mr. Bose. Good to be back and give you an update, our quarterly update on COVID-19. So I'm going to start going through our current situation. So here is our epi curve that we've brought many times. The blue is for our confirmed, which is PCR positive, and the green includes our probable and antigen tests. So when you look at our curves, you can see the very large number of positive tests were reported in January with the first Omicron surge, and you can see July with what we've seen with BA.5, which is still an Omicron variant. You know, as we all are aware, that there wasn't a lot of testing going on, PCR or reportable antigen, lots of home tests being done. And so this is really difficult to look at to really get the situation that we were in this summer. But luckily, we're fortunate to have wastewater surveillance ongoing, and this is our Healthy Central Valley Together, which is the counties of Merced, Stanislaus, and Yolo. And here we see it's a little bit messy on this graph, but if you look at the purple, that's Modesto, and you can see the dark purple Omicron surge that we saw in January, and you can see where we were, which was like, you know, somewhere between a third and a half of the peak of Omicron being detected. And you can see both the N nucleocapsid gene and the S spike gene, looking at both of those in the surveillance. And so you can see that we had pretty good disease transmission going on. As we look at our markers of what we call severe disease, which is either hospitalizations or death, what we see is that you don't see nearly this peak. It's not peaks. It's not, you know, a third to a half of the peak. And so what we're finally seeing is this disassociation between surveillance and cases and transmission of disease and the impact of severe disease on the community. So really, it's what we've been looking for. Remembering that many in the hospital are there with COVID and not for COVID, so you can, you know, perhaps take off half that curve, and you can see that we didn't have a huge impact with severe disease. You know, our hospital still had many staff out, and so there is still some impact to the hospitals, but it was nothing like the previous surges. So We are going to, if you approve, discontinue doing daily bed polling. We do it Monday through Friday, not holidays or weekends, so not like Labor Day. But we're going to discontinue this because I think we've seen through this last surge that we're not seeing a huge impact on hospitals, and we will begin it again if we start hearing from our hospitals that they are seeing some impact to look at. For our treatments, I know you always like me to bring, so I put this table back in. I'm going to talk a little bit more about treatments when we get to our focus areas. Here are the current treatments available. With Omicron, BA4 and 5, we lost most of our monoclonal antibodies. What we have still is bebtelovimab. This was I say right there, just to explain a little bit, no clinical trial data in those at high risk of severe disease, so I can't compare the prevention and those at high risk. The trials were done in all people, not just those at high risk. And so there were trials done, they just weren't in high risk, so I can't put a number there for this. It's assumed to be around 85%, which most of the other monoclonal antibodies were, but there isn't a number to put there. So. And while it is a pretty quick administration time, it's at least 30 seconds of infusion, so not quite a push, but not an hour infusion or anything, but there is still the observation for 1 hour afterwards. And so a little bit of differences with the bebtelovimab. For the vaccine, the new news, and you all know that there's just always many, many things. I try to pick out the things that have changed since the last time we were here. So the bivalent booster is now authorized. It is what the antigen in the vaccine is half the original strain and half a spike protein that is consistent with BA4/5. Those spike proteins are quite similar. It is authorized to be given at least 2 months after the previous dose. And just to be very clear, this is a booster dose only. This is not the primary series. The primary series still exists. If you recall, because there's so many different formulations and everything, but the booster is about half dose for Moderna of the primary series. So you cannot use like a Moderna booster as part of the primary series. It's only to be given after the primary series of 2 doses. And so you can see there's some difference in authorizations for Pfizer. It's 12 years and older. That's the one called Comirnaty, and it's authorized for 18 years and older for Moderna booster use. And it's available throughout the county at this time. Supply will open up more, but it's available, in pharmacies. Providers can order it. It's in our clinic, so it's pretty widely available right now. So we're going to go through the focus area and strategies that were approved by this board in February. So to review the primary objective that we worked on during the COVID-19 response, it was to reduce the level of disease in the community to protect the capacity of the acute care hospital system in service to the health of the community. So beds were available for non-COVID. And I think you can see by what we showed with the situation that I feel that we have met that. And as you recall, we took away the local emergency and the health emergency back in February and March. So here's the 6 response goals, and we are going to go through those one by one. So the first one I will take, it is supporting the operational integrity of the medical treatment system in Stanislaus County. So first of all, maintaining communications with our hospital leadership to understand system-wide issues. We continue to meet with the hospital CEOs and their designees monthly at this point. When things were changing very quickly, we met weekly for quite a bit of the pandemic, went down to every 2 weeks during times where it was a little bit slower moving, and we're down to a monthly at this time and still continue to meet with them. We have additional meetings. Our Stanislaus County Emergency Preparedness Coalition meets frequently. They were the same cadence, and they're down to monthly now when they usually meet quarterly. So we have this ongoing, been present for years and years and years, meeting with our hospitals to improve preparedness for emergencies, and they keep on going. For the second, let me go back up there. For the second, continue to support resource needs of medical facilities, including hospitals and skilled nursing facilities. One of the actions that we have is we have assistance for infection control in skilled nursing facilities, and we've been doing ongoing assistance to them. They've been helping them through a training program that's been put on by the CDPH Office of Licensing and Certification. and, helping them and assisting them and going through the training with them. So continuing to work with our skilled nursing facilities on best infection control practitioners. They always have a lot of turnover, as does everyone, and so, the training will be ongoing. For resource requesting, I had our staff pull from the last quarter, since about the last time we made a report here, and as you can see, it continues to be pretty busy with supporting our hospitals and skilled nursing facilities and our medical community. 46 requests, but quite a few items have been given from our warehouse in support. The antigen tests, we have special allocations just for skilled nursing facilities, so continue to support them there. Gloves, sometimes certain sizes are difficult to get on the market, and so a lot of this is kind of size dependent when there's just spot shortages, and we continue to have some available. So this support continues on, and it continues on in non-emergency and emergency, and we are always there for the medical community through what we call our medical health operational area coordination, which we as public health do in coordination with the EMS agency. Number 2, I'll turn it over to Ms. Talbot.
Good morning. I'm Liz Talbot, Operations Manager at Public Health, and happy to be here with you this morning. So I'm going to be talking with you about a couple of the goals. Goal 2 is to maximize vaccination of high-risk populations, and we have been doing this in 2 ways. One, by continuing to prioritize a public campaign to encourage high-risk individuals who are not up to date on their vaccinations to talk to their healthcare provider, and also to establish an advisory group of community physicians to inform actions and assist with messaging. So we have had several of those meetings with our provider advisory group. They've provided input on vaccine and treatment administration, and we'll reconvene that group as needed going forward. Dr. V also talked about vaccines a little bit. I just wanted to give you some additional statistics. So the vaccines since the last meeting are now available for everyone 6 months of age and older. The bivalent boosters, of course, are now available for those who have completed their primary series, and 57% of our county's residents have completed that primary vaccine series. And it also included some data there because there's quite a difference depending on the age of the Stanislaus County resident. With 101%, we can talk about why that is, with those 65 plus, and down to 1.8% of those under 5. So as folks are aging, they are more likely to be fully vaccinated. Also, goal 3 is to maximize in-person education for all students. And so we have been doing this by continuing to assist and support the education community and local school districts to understand the state guidelines and options to maximize in-person education, with the understanding that school districts retain authority for school policies and to communicate their decisions to the community. So during the last 3 months of last school session for 21-22, we continue to meet twice a month with our school partners, which is often school nurses or other school site level staff, to assist, support, and inform them regarding current and updated state guidance. So much of the guidance that we are going into the new school year with was in place at the end of last school session. So one of the things we've noticed this year is some of the ongoing conversations with schools has primarily been among new school staff or situation-specific questions from those schools. So most of the schools have a strong understanding of the guidance, and generally they're following the general public guidance as well as the OSHA requirements for all employers. So just like Dr. V mentioned with some of the other groups, beginning in June of this year and continuing into this school year, those bi-monthly meetings have converted to a virtual monthly convening. And of course, if there's a need to increase the frequency of those meetings, we would do so. Primarily, we've been assisting schools with case investigations related to identified outbreaks, and schools, as all businesses are, required to report when they have 3 or more cases, and that's among staff or students.
All right, goal 4, to maximize community treatment services to keep people healthy and avoid unnecessary hospitalization. So working with our medical community, continuing to provide ongoing communication of the latest treatment protocols and available community resources to decrease the risk for progressing to severe disease. So we've had ongoing, public information on our website. There's been a lot going on with our community providers, continuing to meet with them and support them to be able to treat their patients. There's been a lot of outreach and communications. Just speaking for myself personally, I've talked to the medical residents in our program to help them with understand that all the different therapeutics, all the tools that are there to assist them. If you remember back, that Paxlovid, which is a combination drug, has many interactions. It's a protease inhibitor, and so where are the tools that they can use to safely treat their patients? Talk to the Medical Society quite frequently, and I will be talking to them again next week. Health Plan of San Joaquin, we do some occasional lunch and learns, and I'm doing another one next week. So there's a lot of ongoing outreach and communication to both the public and the providers to continue to discuss COVID therapeutics. Part of the reason for ongoing and really working on this at an increased tempo, I would say recently, is that this is in the process. The state emergency is unwinding and trying to put everything back where it was before. So I'm not thinking of the correct word, sorry. But anyway, they're trying to work to change what those things that the state emergency put in place, right? So one of those things is our test and treat sites. So our OptumServe sites that are in Salida and Turlock are listed as test to treat sites, where you can go in and get an antigen test and through telehealth be evaluated by a provider and receive your treatment right on site as well. That will no longer be supported once the state emergency goes away, because there's waivers in there to support the testing and the treatment. So really working to convert that and to the provider community so that they're ready to care for their own patients, as there won't be that community resource available anymore, probably by the end of the year. Bebtelovimab is the one monoclonal antibody. The federal government, as you've heard, I'm sure, from the news, they don't have funding to continue to support that program. So the last of what they had purchased has come out, and that has been changed over to commercial. So it is being covered under insurances and is available for people under insurances, but it's no longer being purchased by the federal government free. So there's a lot of activity of this, like unwinding and transferring these activities back to the medical community, where the sick care, the care for those who are ill, usually takes place. And then finally, that advisory group, as Ms. Talbot talked about, they have met. Dr. Papa took the lead on that for the medical side, and they will continue to meet as needed.
Sorry. I was waiting for you. All right, so goal 5 is to ensure the availability of testing resources and appropriate face masks. And as we've stated previously, we are encouraging the return to primary healthcare providers for availability and referrals to services for diagnosis and treatment, right? So making sure people are getting care where they typically receive it, and continuing to ensure equity of access of all county residents to testing and PPE. So when we have those requests come through as appropriate, we are disseminating those supplies and making sure that we are connecting people to where those supplies may be available. And finally, goal 6 is timely community-centric education and communications, where we will monitor and respond to community trends in real time. So we continue to develop timely, meaningful content in English and Spanish for our social media and traditional media, such as radio ads, as well as printed material for outreach activities. I will also add that depending on the community served, we also have the ability to provide some of those materials in other languages. We've held a number of community events, too many to list, so we just highlighted some partnerships with Visión y Compromiso, the NAACP Mobile Clinic, El Concilio, Area Agency on Aging, and more. We've also held listening sessions throughout the community to talk with folks who may be vaccinated or unvaccinated, and talking with them about why they've made those choices and how we can best support both vaccine and testing and other resources.
All right, so I'm going to move from COVID to monkeypox and give just a few updates on some of the many other things that, of course, we are working on. So monkeypox, I think you're all aware, is in the family of orthopox viruses, closely related to smallpox, which was eradicated in the world. We stopped vaccinating this country around 1970 for smallpox. Monkeypox is endemic in some places in Africa. It is unclear what the animal reservoir is. It's thought to be a small mammal, like a rodent. Important because we do not want it to become established in that same reservoir in the United States, because much more difficult to eradicate, almost impossible once it has an animal reservoir. While closely related to smallpox, it is not as severe, which is the good news. It is had some changes in this virus. It's made it a bit easier to spread, it seems like, and perhaps not as severe as what's seen in the countries where it's endemic. So for our current outbreak situation, what we're seeing currently, we've talked many times about how people don't randomly mix, people mix in their networks, and this network through which it's currently spreading is primarily in men who have sex with men. It is also outside that network, but the majority of cases, I would say about 90%, but decreasing, are in men who have sex with men. It is transmitted by close contact, skin-on-skin contact. It does not seem to be transmitted at all through the air. There have been, even though people have been infectious on airlines, there hasn't been a single case that's been knocked out, been able to determine to be from that. And so really looking at all the ways that it can be spread. We know from smallpox that sheets and towels and clothes that are on the lesions are a possible source, and so always urge caution about that. So far in Stanislaus County, we've had 15 people diagnosed. We do have some treatment available. There is something called tecovirimat, or TPOXX. It's from the Strategic National Stockpile. It is available under Expanded Access Investigational New Drug, or what we call compassionate use a lot of times. What this means is there is some paperwork so involved with it, and the role really of the local health department is, of course, education and messaging, but also we just facilitate providers ordering it from the stockpile. And so there are some caches around that we can facilitate quick access to this drug for treatment. One of the most common indications for treatment is pain. This is an extraordinarily painful rash. I hear it described a lot of times as glass under your skin. So it's extremely painful. They're very, very deep. Not like chicken pox, which are kind of shallow and right on the surface. These are very deep and right in the nerves, and so it's a very painful rash, unfortunately. There is vaccination called Jynneos. It's a specific monkeypox vaccination. It's also from the Strategic National Stockpile, where it's been stockpiled, although the federal government is purchasing more. So in our county, we've given so far 189 plus, and I say plus because we have distributed some of these vials to Kaiser, but we're, as yet, if you remember back to the beginning of the pandemic, we can't see the doses that they're giving yet. The IT systems aren't quite connecting for this. So hopefully soon we'll be able to also see what they've been able to give. We have a couple pharmacies, so our small independents that are coming on board. Part of the delays in this has been that there's no reimbursement yet. We're waiting for insurances and CMS to get some reimbursement in place so people actually paid for the administration of this vaccine. Without that, it's difficult for people to step up and give. We have received so far 352 vials of this vaccine. Initially, you probably heard about this. This was being administered subcutaneously, so one vial was one dose. It's at 0.5 mLs in a vial. But then we are now administering this intradermally, so it's just like a TB skin test. You just put it right under the skin. You get that little wheel popping up. And we can get 5 doses per vial. So each of these vials is now worth 5. So our first, we got 20, and then we had, I believe, 68, if I remember correctly. So those first 88 were single dose administered, and now we're working our way through the vials with trying to get 5 doses per vial, and being successful for the most part. As long as you have the correct syringes and needles, you can get 5 doses. If you can see there, we have a website up, and please go visit that website for more information. Our dashboard should be up and live, so you can see cases and vaccines administered. There's also who is being vaccinated, and we'll get up there where we can get vaccine. Right now, it's pretty much us, but working to get our partners on board and administering. Sorry. There is some training component, obviously, because people who commonly get vaccines don't necessarily always give the TB skin tests, and so there is some learning for some people in starting to give this vaccine as well. I was going to move on to influenza because, of course, it's September and we're moving into influenza season for our 2022-2023 season, which we usually start, say, in October. We usually say October through May, although it went through June last year. We are expecting an active flu season. One of the places we look, as you know, with COVID, I was always looking far east to like Israel and the UK. For flu, we often look to Australia, the southern hemisphere, because they're just completing their winter now, and they had an extremely active flu season with a lot of flu circulating. So we are looking that this will probably be a pretty active influenza season. The vaccine has been updated. The vaccine contains 4 strains. There's a H3N2. There's 2 A's and 2 B's, so the AH3N2 and the AH1N1. And there's 2 B's, and they name those Victoria and Yamagata lines. So they've updated 2 of the 4 strains, one of the A and one of the B that are up there. And the only really new recommendation for this year is that those who are 65 and older receive either the high-dose vaccine or one that's adjuvanted to really improve immune response. As we get older, unfortunately, our immune response isn't as strong with the same doses, and so it does improve to give a higher dose. A better immune response is gotten to get us more like us older people, more like young people. There is a website there, vaccines.gov, where you can go, and it has COVID boosters, it has your flu shots, and you can locate where to get them. I tried it for the high-dose one, and I came up with a whole list of Walgreens around, so it clearly works. Not everybody has their eligibility shown there, but many do, and so I'd urge people, if you're interested in what to find them, this does both COVID and flu. Avian influenza, that's been in the news a little bit. There's been a high path means in birds, not people, avian influenza H5N1 that's been circulating and coming across the United States, and it is now here in California, and we are seeing some outbreaks. There are no commercial outbreaks that I have been made aware of at this time, but there have been 4 wild birds that we have been notified that have been tested positive. I'm not the avian influenza expert. However, I wasn't informed of the type of bird on the first 3, but I heard they were Canadian geese, and I think all 3 were. The second one I was told was a mallard, so we have both Canadian geese and mallard ducks. So far, this has not been shown to cause human infection. I mean, we know avian influenza can. These influenza viruses, first of all, you're not protected by our flu shot. Those are different. This is an H5. And so, we don't have, we're immunologically not prepared at all for an H5, but it doesn't tend to infect humans. It just hasn't evolved to infect mammals. It doesn't bind to our receptors very well. They haven't really found any human disease with this. If you think about all the places Canadian geese are, especially if you're a golfer, I've tramped on many a golf course in Michigan where there are Canadian geese everywhere, so you know if this was going to infect humans from all this interaction that they've had, we would have seen it by now. So really, really low risk to people, not worried about it at all. But, hunters, as they are looking at the fall hunting season, perhaps taking, wearing some gloves and, not shaking the head around so that their saliva can come into contact with your face. Wearing some gloves as you pick up dead birds in parks, just taking a little bit of extra care. The general rule of always being careful around sick and dead animals still holds, and so just want to bring that forward to everybody. I see everybody smiling, but you know what? Just letting you know what's going on out there. There are, of course, many other things. I was going to close with heat. We obviously had some quite hot weather most recently. We are not the lead agency on heat, as you're aware, but we do monitor human impacts, the impacts to what people see, and mostly we do this by looking at emergency department visits And so here is, what we look at every day. We like to plot against the high temperature and the low temperature, because lows, it could perhaps be even more important than the highs in predicting heat-related illnesses. We only were reported 13 in our largest day, which was, of course, our hottest day, which is, more than we'd like to see, but it's by no means the highest I've seen since I've been here. So we were not reported any deaths from this heat wave. People, I think, it's September, so we're a little bit more acclimated to the heat. It's quite a bit worse when this happens in June. And so we didn't see a huge human impact. We didn't have bad air days with a lot of smoke from fires. We didn't have a high humidity, and we didn't have power outages very much. So I think we got through this pretty well from the human health impact side. So I'll turn it over to Lori.
Hello. I think it's still morning. Yeah, it's still morning. Good morning, everyone. All right. So I have the pleasure of sharing some other stuff beside COVID and monkeypox, and I wanted to give some updates and highlight a few things. Last time when I was here, we did talk about the infant formula shortage. We're very pleased to say that it's gotten much better, but there still is a shortage, and it's mainly around the type of formulas that are needed for special situations. But we're hoping that it will not be called a shortage real soon. So there's a lot of activity going on to ensure that that happens. The USDA has extended their waivers to make sure that there's flexibilities, and the state is continuing to make sure that these flexibilities are in place for us here in Stanislaus County and in California. I did want to highlight National Preparedness Month. And I think it's very fitting. September is National Preparedness Month, and we just want to put a plug out there to everyone that within listening, that's listening to us, that please prepare your kits. Please make sure that you're doing what you can to stay prepared. The theme this time is building a national, not a national, is a lasting legacy. And the quote that they have is, "The life you've built is worth protecting. Prepare for disasters to create a lasting legacy for you and your family." So that's the next slide. Go ahead. Yeah. Oh, so I'm sorry. So anyway, we want to encourage you to protect your legacy. It's real important, and I know we're doing a lot of stuff, but go home today and check out your plan. Make sure that you have one, and look at your supplies, because many people put their kits together and they kind of forget about them, and that stuff does expire. So just kind of make it a little group activity. Take a look at your supplies, and if you need to kind of put more or newer supplies and go ahead and do that. In this area, we have to prepare for many things. I know everyone knows we have to prepare for fires, but there's also floods. We haven't had one since, I think, 2017 maybe, or something like that. And then, of course, we've all went through a couple of weeks of extreme heat. So just making sure that you're prepared for that. And then we want to encourage you to stay informed. There's a lot of ways to stay informed. You can activate various types of alerts, and if you haven't already, I strongly encourage you to activate the stand emergency text, so you'll have a sense of what's happening here. Of course, there's many websites, and we've noted the ready.gov plan website and so many apps, the FEMA app, First Aid, and American Red Cross. So check some of those out and see if they will meet your needs to stay informed and to be able to receive alerts. And then we really encourage people to connect with your neighbors, especially if you live in a neighborhood where there's older people that may not have all their family around. Just kind of check in and see if they have a plan and if they have their supplies, if there's any way that you can be able to help them to do so. And then also you might need their help. So make sure that in your neighborhood that you do make some connections with the folks close to you. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, and so I'm also very, very pleased to announce that for our next quarterly presentation, we will be doing the Public Health Annual Report. And for this report, COVID is going to have to take the back seat. And we're very, very excited about that because it has definitely taken a lot of our attention and a lot of our resources, and now we're able to begin to do some of the other public health things that that's so needed and that we're so proud to be doing. So recovering for resiliency is kind of our theme, and so we'll be presenting that report in December. And some of the highlights, as I indicated, we'll talk about some of our other programs. We'll share what's going on with reaccreditation. We were accredited in 2019, right before we went into this, and your accreditation stays in place for 5 years, and then you have to reapply. So we're like already 3 years into it. So we'll talk about some of the efforts that we're putting in place to make sure that we're poised to be reaccredited. And we'll also share our progress on our community health improvement plan, what's happening with our 4 focus areas, with our work groups, and share the progress with that. And then we'll also, very excited to be able to share some of the efforts that we are putting in place to really begin to strengthen our public health infrastructure so that we are able to be really, always ready to respond to any public health threat or emergency, that we're able to advance health equity, and that we're able to continuously deliver high-quality public health services. So we're very excited about some of the additional funding that has come to public health, all of public health, to be able to do some of those things. So we'll share kind of the direction that we're going to ensure that our infrastructure is strong. Okay, let me see. All right, and then I just wanted to just give a little prevention tip. So here's a little quote: "Take care of the body. It's the only place you have to live." So we want to just really encourage you guys as we go into the holiday seasons and having come through pretty difficult times, to just kind of take time to make sure that you are taking care of your body, your mind, your spirit, all of that. And we strongly encourage people to ensure that you have had at least an annual checkup. So sometimes, during this time, people with so much going on, they may have kind of missed that appointment and haven't gotten it scheduled. So we encourage you to make sure that you do that so that you can be, up to date on any recommended screenings and vaccines. And of course, we encourage you to eat a variety of foods and make sure that they're rich in fruit and vegetables, that there's lean protein, and that there's whole grains. Cut down on the sugar. I know it gets very, very difficult as we move into the holiday months, but just cut down on the sugars, the processed foods, and those foods that are made with white flour. They're not necessarily that good for us. And then I encourage all of us to mind our mental health. Do what you can to reduce your stress, get some rest. I think I'll say that again, get some rest, because I think many of us don't get enough rest. We're just constantly doing. And then avoid behaviors such as smoking and excessive drinking. And then lastly, keep it moving. Be active and engage in activities that make you happy. So just, get up and move. If you like dancing, dance. If there's a sport you like, do that. And if you just simply like walking, do that as well. So take care of the body. It's the only place you have to live. All right? And so our recommendation for today is that you accept this quarterly report on the COVID response and other current public health matters in Stanislaus County.
Very good. Thank you guys, Julie and Lori and Liz. Thank you guys very much. Good presentation. What a difference compared to what we were doing before. Seems like a lifetime ago we were in that spot. Any questions, concerns? Buck?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. V, Lori, Lise, thank you for your report. On goal number 2 of the COVID portion, are you working with the Commission on Aging at all in regards with that goal? They have a lot of communication lines that could probably take advantage of in that regard.
So I think, and if I missed something, you can help me. But yeah, we are definitely working very, very closely with them, and we also had a very successful activity end of September? No, end of August. Yes, yes. So we're definitely in communication and working in partnership with them.
That's great. They have daily luncheons every week, and it would just be a great line of communication.
Right. Yeah, and we'll keep exploring if there's other things that we might be able to do as well, around other issues as well.
Okay, and then goal number 3, do we get a lot of requests from the schools in regard to interpretation of the state guidelines? Do they call us to interpret the state, or do they pretty much go to the state first?
They tend to have a lot of questions. Those calls have been very, very helpful for us and for them. So there's a good exchange, and so they have a lot of questions, and that is the forum where we're able to deal with them.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Buck. Chance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much for your presentation today. I just had some questions on goal number 2. In regards to our public campaign. Can you elaborate on that and also specifically speak to kind of our efforts for, I guess, the Spanish-speaking community, the smaller rural communities such as Wesley, Grace, and Crow's Landing, and just kind of those efforts as well?
Thank you. I will. I'm going to.
Hello again. Yes, so we've had a number of opportunities to have some radio ads in English and Spanish, and of course, only folks who listen to the radio hear those. So we have many other venues. So we also use social media like Facebook and Instagram, and have all of our messages in both English and Spanish. And we've had a number of community events and outreach events. Not only in the more populated parts of our county, but in the west side and the east side of the county as well. Partnerships with the school districts there, any opportunity that we have to get information out. We work often with our promotoras, with our family resource centers. We're trying to reach as many places as we can. Yeah.
Great. No, and might I just suggest that maybe we can form a partnership. All those are great. Maybe a partnership with the flea market. I know they're very active. It'd be great to have a presence out there, and I just think that would encourage folks further and make awareness for them. So in regards to Grace and Wesley, Crow's Landing, we're doing the same. We're duplicating our efforts, making sure that those communities are touched as well.
Yeah, we've had a number of events earlier on and throughout 2022 with the Rematito flea market there, and some of those efforts as well, and we do plan to continue those opportunities. We've even held vaccination clinics there and brought CDPH also has some mobile vaccine efforts that are ongoing. So we've had some partnerships with there, brought some food trucks out to engage the community a little more broadly.
Great. And I'm sure we're already working with the Grayson Community Foundation and the promotoras of Wesley and Grayson. Awesome. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for the information.
Thanks, Chance. Anybody else? Vito?
Yeah. So the booster now, is it still the 6-month wait time between your last shot? If people have gotten boosters in the past?
It's 2 months from your last shot, so 2 months.
2 months.
Is the minimum interval.
And can you get the flu shot at the same time?
Yes, you can get both at the same time.
Not that you would want that. So, and we used to have the flu shots. We used to give them at county buildings for our employees. They brought it here. So I'm going to, again, recommend to staff that we do that out at CSA, Sheriff's Department. You have it available. Just have a vaccine clinic. And I'm very positive on flu shots. Dr. Walker, your predecessor? Yes, the previous public health officer convinced me, and I'm a firm believer in the flu shot. Doesn't always hit it, but I think it has a great ability to keep a lot of people at work.
Very good. Thanks, Vito. Anybody else? Just a couple quick things. So as far as the resources, we talked about the resources that we're providing, whether it's, you said 46 requests, and went through all this. I know at one point in the middle of all this, in the heat of the battle there, we had filled a warehouse full of stuff that we were trying to, where is that stuff now? And And do we have much of it left, or have we unloaded most of it?
So I'll start, I don't know a lot of things about it.
This is all PPE
Yes.
stuff.
And we have a lot of expired, there's been, some medical equipment has expired, gowns and masks and 95s. And so what we've been doing is offering them out to many places like schools, county government. They're really going to be of use with avian influenza if you want to go, for the parks, picking up the dead birds. Well, here we have some face shields, we have some masks, we have some gowns. If you don't want to get this stuff on your clothes, expired medical PPE is actually perfectly good for that. So we have been reaching out to many, many partners. So we still have a warehouse. I don't know if there's more of an update. I have a little bit high-level look on it. Is there anything more?
No, you've
Okay.
covered it. If you would like some
We're still
gowns,
working on
please
it.
let us know.
Yes,
good. So we're getting-
gowns, masks.
We're going through
yeah.
The
it.
farming community would love expired stuff. Would take it.
Probably so, yeah. So I'm just curious how much we have in there if it's just sitting there. Let's try to
Lots. There's still lots left.
Let's try to get it out to whoever would
Yes.
want to use it. Perfect. Treatments, plenty of those availability for all the different treatments we talked about. There's plenty of availability. Everybody's getting what they need. There's no shortages in any of that kind of stuff.
There are no shortages. Again, the bebtelovimab is it's going commercial. I've been told it's about $2,000 a dose, so I mean, it's going commercial with all that means. So, but there are no shortages of any of the therapeutics that I'm aware of.
Perfect, that's great. And we look forward to your guys' public health report coming up. We look forward to that coming up soon. And the last thing, I think this is just an oversight on this picture that we show, live healthy and be well, and it's got all these fruits and I don't see caramel corns on there. And so that's probably just missed. We'll catch that next time.
Come by my office.
Yeah, that's right, okay. All right, thank you guys very much. Any public comments with regard to our update? Okay, seeing none, bring it back to the board, and we'll look for just an acceptance of the quarterly report.
I move to approve the report. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you guys very much. Okay, we will move on to correspondence.
This board has received the claims as noted on the agenda.
Acknowledge receipt of claims and refer as recommended on the agenda. Any Board of Supervisor reports?
One quick one. Yesterday at the Turlock Senior Citizen Center, they started the congregate meals, senior meals again, after a hiatus first through COVID. And then there was an issue between two of our departments, Environmental Resources and our new Environmental Resources Director, Rob Kostlevy, along with Margie Palomino, worked it out. Took them about a month delay, but I love Stanislaus County staff. I truly do, and they got it taken care of, and I went down along with the mayor and vice mayor of Turlock and had a good morning. It was
Very
fun.
good. That's great. Good. Anything else? Any updates from anybody? Okay, we will move on to our legislative, fiscal, and management report. Assistant Chief Executive Officer Patrice Dietrich.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
I
here.
do have just a couple quick things this morning. As you know, the 21-22 legislative session has adjourned. There are still a few bills on the governor's desk that we're watching closely. First up, SB 1338 Umberg. This is the CARE Court program, Community Assistance, Recovery, and Empowerment. We have been notified that the governor intends to sign this bill tomorrow, and Stanislaus County has actually been invited to participate in that signing. So that is news. We had a couple of bills, AB 1951 Grayson. This is related to sales tax changes in manufacturing. We sent both an opposition letter and a request for the governor to veto that because it does have implications for revenue that comes to the county to operate our programs. And then finally, SB 1127, this one came through on Friday. Thanks to Chairman Withrow for signing a request for veto. This is for increased liability presumptions in the workers' compensation program. And that one came in late, and we did respond to that with that request. So that is what we're tracking right now on ledge. One last thing near and dear to my heart, last week, thanks to the whole county budget team, the adopted budget pending your board approval was posted online on September 8th. We have a public hearing for that budget scheduled September 20th. That's a night meeting, so at 6:30 here. The public can access the full budget online at www.stancounty.com/budget. And there is also a hard copy available for those who prefer at the Clerk of the Board office.
Patrice, thank you very much. Thank you guys all for staying, Joni and Stephen, and I'm sorry, Cassandra, thank you for hanging out with us this long. And Dylan, our new intern, who is here working in the CEO's office for the board, thank you for being here, and Casey's sitting there with you. Everybody, thank you all for being here.
Mr. Chair, if I could, right before you go, I just wanted the public to know that next week I will be participating from out of the area on county business.
On county business.
On behalf of the Stan COG, but I will be participating via Zoom.
Very good. Make sure that camera's on so we can see you. Okay, before we head off, we have a closed session, and Tom?
Yes, we have two items for closed session this morning. The first one is conference with labor negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The agency negotiators are Jody Hayes, Tamara Thomas, Ryan Leib, Carrie Griffin, Kira Vink. The labor organizations are noted in the agenda. Following that closed session, we will close out our Board of Supervisors meeting, and then we will reopen, and sitting as the In-Home Supportive Services Public Authority, we will have one closed session there, and that will be another conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6 again. The agency negotiators are Jody Hayes, Bert Dumfrey, Jennifer, I'm going to mess this up, Wakiz, Tamara Thomas, and the labor organization is the In-Home Supportive Services, UDWA. With that.
Okay, and it'd be appropriate to ask if there's any public comment with regard to closed session before we go into it. Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.